on, y'all? If you tuning in for the first time, I thank you so much. Go ahead and do all the YouTubers say. I'm not gonna say it. So the Utah Utes have been in the news recently for what they've been doing off the field rather than on the field. And with today's landscape of college football, it seems like we get all the news we get is off the field rather than on the field. I love to hear about what's going on with position battles and what's coming up for the season. We'll get into that more later in July, August. But right now, as you guys can see at the title of this article, it's Utah sold its soul for private equity. The layoffs were always coming. So this has been in the news for about 5 months now, ever since December. The deal with I think it's called Ortro. That's how you say it. It's a firm out of New York. It seems like a lot of New York firms or a lot of New York people getting involved with Utah business. Mr. Wonderful, and you got protests going on with the data centers. We don't got to get into that, but it's going on down there. But Ortro is a company based out of New York, and it focuses in media, sports, and entertainment. But this company's coming in, and it's basically Utah came out with a statement either this weekend or recently saying, "Hey, some people are pretty much." It was a university statement, but basically broken. I'll break it down as, hey, like we're laying our employees off, the people that work at Utah. The new company that's coming in, Ortro, we're gonna bring in their guys, and basically they're gonna have the first right position. They're gonna have first first dibs on the positions we have at Utah. So to the people that already their jobs, they were graduates at the positions, like they were dealing with entertainment, merchandising, hospitality, ticketing, because that's what Ortro's taken over, all those positions: merchandising, sponsorships, licensing. So the people that probably graduated from Utah or people that are from the area that are working there, it sucks that their positions are being cut because those are their livelihood. That's a paycheck that goes to their family. But Utah did say, hey, we'll still interview them for the position, or they'll still have an interview for positions that we have around Utah. But it's like, hey, you're still firing them. So they haven't said how many jobs are or they didn't say how many people they're laying off. So we'll see if Utah drops that information. I don't think they will. But the deal is worth $500 million, which is a lot of money. But what a lot of people, you might be asking yourself, like, what's different from other universities doing this, or what makes Utah different, is Utah is the first university with a private equity as a minority owner of their LLC. So a lot of colleges, not every college, I'll list the colleges right now. So Kentucky, Clemson, Michigan State, Texas Tech, the ruler of them all, Mr. Cody Campbell, the one with a lot of money. Utah has to battle with them in the Big 12 for roster spots, because Utah could a hot spot for recruits is Texas. Texas Tech is, they're going to get some recruits from there, but Utah's probably got to go in state for their talent. But West Virginia and Boise State are all colleges that created LLCs, but Utah's the only one with a private equity person, in there as a minority owner. So we'll see what happens with that. Their thing is called the Crimson Brand Partners, the CBP. I don't really like that name. If Bama's Crimson Tide, but yeah, I guess Utah. I thought Utah was just red. I guess it's crimson. But they're going to be donating to there, and for what the other programs have, it's like, hey, for third parties to donate, or just outside of the university, people, or just big donors can donate to our LLCs in this new college football format that we have coming up. So it's all pretty interesting. I want to know your thoughts on this situation. Will Utah survive in this new college football era? With their schedule coming up, they could be 8-0 coming into that, or yeah, 8-0 coming into that BYU game. They have Idaho up first, Arkansas, Utah State, Iowa State. They have to go to Iowa State. Then they have Kansas week 5, Colorado week 6, Houston week 7, and then Cincy week 8. Those are all beatable teams, I feel like, for Utah, because Utah is not going to change their format of we're ground and pound team, we're a hard nosed team. I feel like Scally's going to keep that team intact. Whittingham does leave. Only takes a few players with him, 4 to 5 players, but does take a recruit, Celesi Moa from Utah. He was a recruit for Utah, and then he leaves and goes to Michigan with Kyle Whittingham. So we'll see how his career and his trajectory plays out. But this situation is very interesting to look at because it shows you like the next steps of what college football could be taking. And I haven't really been covering the other situations in college football. Like I said before, it's like beating a dead horse. The Brendan Sorsby situation, the 2014 playoff, the Ted Cruz bill, which is probably aligned with what's going on with Utah right now. Ted Cruz is trying to get the commissioner trying to get a commissioner, trying to get college football not to be the wild, wild west right now, just to get some structure going in. So I have to look at what's all, because it's a 300-page bill of what they want for college football. So I got to look at that. But the Brendan Sorsby situation, Texas Tech and Cody Campbell thought they could pull off an Ole Miss situation by grabbing the same, like a judge that went to the same university. So Cody Campbell grabs a judge that went to Texas Tech. Ole Miss did the same thing for Trinidad Chambliss. That judge grants Trinidad Chambliss another year of eligibility to play college football. Texas Tech tried to grant Brendan Sorsby another year. It doesn't work because he bet on his own team. I would do the same thing. NCAA, all of them. Texas Tech tried to take it to trial. They get denied. It gets revoked. It gets, hey, you're not playing another down. So you go into the supplemental draft. We'll see what happens with him there. Tennessee kind of tried to do the same thing with Joey Aguilar. I don't know where Joey Aguilar is right now, but I think he went undrafted. We'll see how he turns out. I'll look up after this video where he went. But yeah, all these situations, man, it's like the 2014 playoff. The real envision I have is, which I don't think is going to happen. I think it's still being a dead horse talking about it. 16 teams is enough for me, but if fans don't want it to get like this, because it's seeming like we have no control. It's like, hey, the fans are telling the people at the high spots in college football, the people that control college football, hey, we don't want this, but they still pushing forward the coaches, and some ads are knocking it. The SEC commissioners like, hey, I don't want this, but the coaches want it. I feel like some of the fans have to boycott the games, not go to the games, maybe not watch the games. Sometimes I know that's really hard to do. I don't think that could happen, and then you have some situations where the NCAA or the NAACP is trying to boycott black players, so it could bring up a situation like, hey, if you're gonna boycott for changing the sport, why can't you boycott for our situation? So it might, boycotting for college football might not work. So we'll see with what happens with this Utah situation, man. It's very interesting. All the money being spent. Will other programs get to this point? Because it's seeming like, hey, like your program can be bought in a way, but it's not really buying the university. It's just having stake in it while it's creating an LLC. So a lot of other programs could get like this. So they're saving money in the long run, I guess, because LSU, with what LSU is doing, it seems like they want to spend $40 million on a roster every season, and it doesn't seem like that's sustainable for college football. But you hear the AD of LSU talking about, hey, we need to be like the Dallas Cowboys every year. We need to be mentioned like that. I don't know if you have to put in Ed Orgeron videos every week to get the nation riled up for LSU football or like that. I don't know if Lane Kiffin's going to be like, go Tigers. I don't know what you have to do to get you just can't be like the Dallas Cowboys in this nation. I'm sorry, there's only one Dallas Cowboys, and that's Jerry's team. Okay, so, but very interesting, man. So let me know your thoughts on the situation. Is this a good thing for Utah? Is this a bad thing? I know a lot of people did get laid off, which is terrible. So prayers up to those families who's going through this situation. But I'm out. Hopefully y'all like